probably already know this anyway, but I'm looking at 623 backers, and that's gone up quite significantly from the other day when I checked it as well. So it seems to be moving quite
Seems to be moving,
nicely. Yeah,
I think, and the psychology of these fundings are always so interesting because I can never tell who's real, who's not real, what comments to take to heart, what comments not to take to heart. We know that the last 24 hours will be, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, Um, but I know that there's a whole lot of people who are like, I don't want to back it if it's not going to reach the goal, which always seems so very odd to me because if you don't back it, it
yeah,
definitely won't make the goal.
yeah. There's a weird psychology to it.
Whereas,
Yeah, definitely.
well, and I think too, to a degree, when we put stuff like this up, they're like, oh, they're big, it's fine.
Right, right.
Versus like if we had done this like, hey, small indie company and it's on Kickstarter, everybody and their grandmother would be like, oh my God, these guys came out of nowhere with the most amazing thing. I'm gonna back this day one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Super 7, don't worry about it. We'll get.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of psychology that goes into that 100%.
And the reality is there is not a, oh, it'll show up later. I think that there is a misconception on that, simply because if you want some of our other bigger items, like if you want a Snake Mountain, they're about $1,200 these days, but you can get one, but mostly because a bunch of retailers bought extras,
Yeah.
because they could. With Thunder Tanks, you can get them because a lot of retailers bought extra, but then a lot of retailers bought them pre-pandemic. They delivered post-pandemic or in pandemic, post-pandemic, canceled a bunch of orders. So there was a lot of inventory all of a sudden that became available
Right.
that wouldn't normally be available because we make to order. I think you'll see on the Turtle Van, which is shipping from the factory right now.
Awesome.
That'll be here, in the next 6 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on where you live, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're not get. I know what we made. I know what people do. You're not going to see a lot of those in this around.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not going to be available. It's not going to be like, oh, I bought a whole bunch extra. It's like,
Yeah.
nope. I think when Cat's Lair lands, it'll be the same situation.
Oh
It'll
my
be
God, Brian, the cat's lair. How dare you? That thing is unbelievable.
that thing is preposterous. And I think the other thing, there's a lot of people like, why is the Cat's Lair this price, but this price? And it's like the Cat's Lair is big, but it's also fairly open.
Mm.
There's a lot of open space. There's a lot of things like this thing.
There's a lot
You
of,
really think about it,
yeah.
it's like, all right, it's 3 feet wide, but then you have the base, you have the floor, you have the top, then you have all the stuff that goes in between and everything. It's like, no, this thing's got almost, if you take those 3 levels away, it's like, oh, all right, here's the center,
Yeah.
here's the left, here's the right, like in just roof, a floor, and then bottom of ship. Like it's
Oh, that thing's
still
involved. It's
just
got
as
so
big.
much going on. It's brilliant. But yeah, no, I totally see where you're coming from there. But the cat's lair, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
when we heard you guys were
So
doing a 6-inch scale one of those, wow. Or 7-inch, sorry, 7-inch scale technically.
if it was, it would be the size of like Des Moines. It's more just, I think there's also a perception of I'll be able to get it later
Right, right.
because for better or for worse, over the years, our product, I'd like to phrase it as this. Somebody else will come into the comments surely and tell me it's not, but is that the product is really good. People really like it. So retailers, especially online retailers, have bought in deep to carry inventory later that we are not making.
Right,
They are taking risk on.
right,
I'm just making to order, but they're making to order saying, I want to have this for a year.
right.
Obviously, they're doing that far less now. So there is, I think, a perception too of like, oh, I'll be able to get this later. I don't need to back this. And it's like, that ship has sailed.
Right, right.
Everybody's tight these days. They're not over ordering.
Yeah.
They're ordering to order. and it'll come in and it'll come out, and that'll be about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think that there, once again, there's a perception thing there. I think, like I said, if it was a small independent person or a different thing and they were kickstarting it off, people would go crazy. I
Mm.
think because it's us,
Yeah,
the
you're
sense of
right.
urgency is not
It's
there.
removed a little bit totally, and yeah, totally agree with that. And it's the same as well with a lot of like HasLabs or with Kickstarters from companies that have done it before, like that have had that kind of they've done those kind of projects in the past. And I think it's definitely that psychology about it is so true. It's like there's a real compulsion for people to not get in until it's funded, or not get in and because they want to, they just want to see how it goes, kind of thing. And yeah, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
that
like,
going on.
do you want in because you want it, or you want in because everybody else is in? I
Yes,
don't
yeah,
understand.
that's the yeah, and obviously, cost does come into it on a lot of occasions. But if you're going to get something, if you're going to be buying something, then you're going to make that commitment at some point. You might as well make it at the beginning to get it funded in the first place.